The Blue Mountains National Park. Wild, rugged, and breathtaking. Sheer sandstone cliff faces and deeply carved valleys almost seem to be protecting the landscape from prying eyes. This ancient environment holds many secrets for those who know where to look. Where some of these secrets lay deep in the wildest and most remote sections of the wilderness, requiring days and extensive knowledge to access. Others are hidden almost in plain sight. Somewhere in the Blue Mountains, perched along a cliffline, is the remnants of an old climber's cave, used to house many up-and-coming adventurers in the 80s and 90s. Join me as I spend a night solo camping in this historic climber's cave. After spending the past month absolutely flat chat with work and other commitments, I was super stoked to finally have a weekend off where I could get out into the bush. I put up the bat signal to see if any of my mates were also free with no success. Despite this, and a foreboding weather forecast, I was determined to make the most of the time that I had off. After a bit of research, I decided that I wanted to explore an old climber's cave, perched on the side of a cliff, not even a 15-minute drive away from a major township in the Blue Mountains. A last-minute stop at Woolworths for some supplies before starting the short but scenic drive to the starting point for this weekend's adventure. The bitumen turned to dirt and the road began to twist and turn, with the greenery growing more lush as the drive went on. I parked my car and upon exiting, was instantly greeted by the fresh mountains air and breathtaking views.
And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I
Looking out into the distance, I could see some iconic mountain sights. The Landslide Lookout, the Three Sisters and Mount Solitary. The air was cold and crisp, with a strong breeze pulling the mist up over the cliffline like an inverted waterfall. And as the cockatoos flew around deep in the distance, it really emphasised the enormity of the landscape that I was looking down upon.
to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am.
A quick turn off the fire trail, and I began my descent down to the climber's cave. Blue sky briefly appeared, and the sun shone onto the cliff face opposite, before quickly being protected by the overhead clouds once again. The walk down to the campsite was short but steep, with numerous sections of slippery rocks and down climbs.
And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. I just want you to know who I am. I just want you to know who I am.
The cave itself was named by the Sydney University's Bushwalkers Club sometime in the mid-1900s and provided long-term accommodation for many climbers in the 80s and 90s, whilst rock climbing routes were being established around the surrounding cliff lines. Remnants of the cave's historic climbing past can be found, with holes in the rock being adapted to makeshift hangboards, and an old carrot bolt jutting out of the wall. Hi, please don't steal this container. Wishing you a safe, memorable journey and hope you found what you were looking for. Happy hiking, take care and stay safe. Sign out, Mountain Life. As I stood there, reading through years and years of entries to the logbook, the extensive history of the cave finally dawned on me. This natural cave has watched over and cared for generations of people, whilst asking for nothing in return. The relationships that humans have with this particular cave is just a microcosm of the much larger relationship between humans and nature. As people, we take so much from the landscape, whilst returning so little. So how can we shift the parasitic nature of our relationship with the environment to a connection based on symbiosis and mutual gain? The first step, in my opinion, is to ensure that we minimise our impact and, as practically as possible, leave no trace. Whilst applying the leave no trace principles will positively impact the landscape we are visiting more than traditional approaches to hiking, we as humans are bound to have some kind of an impact, no matter how careful we are. Our footsteps are bound to trample young plants and crush leaf matter. So, let's aim to leave the landscape that we're visiting in a better condition than what we found it in. Pick up that piece of rubbish. Gather firewood further afield in the wilderness, or when possible, even bring your own, as I did here. Spread those branches and leaf matter back over where your tent was. Use established fireplaces. Take a mental snapshot when you arrive and compare it with when you leave. Make it look a little bit better, and this will help to shift the relationship that we have with nature from parasitic to symbiotic. As darkness began to cover the cave, I worked to keep the fire burning so that the hot coals would be established to cook tonight's dinner, a classic campfire pizza. With thanks to Mother Nature for the assistance of the small stick, converted to a makeshift sauce spreader, I assembled the pepperoni pizza and placed it on the hot coals to cook. Tonight's dinner really gave a new meaning to wood-fired pizza, with the crust unfortunately burnt almost entirely to pure elemental carbon. I briefly sat watching the fire flicker and die out, before retreating to my sleeping bag and falling asleep to the chorus of croaking frogs and a slowly trickling waterfall. I awoke the next morning to almost white-out conditions, but the valley ahead of me filled with mist and a gentle breeze. I was grateful for the cave's protection last night, as the rain continued and the temperature dropped down to 7 degrees. A quick pack up of the campsite, ensuring all rubbish had been removed in accordance with the leave no trace principles, before making my way back the way I had come the day before. The visibility on the walkout was incredibly poor, with anything more than 20 metres in the distance completely covered by mist. I climbed the short but steep hill through sopping wet shrubbery and returned to my car, dumping my pack and heading out to the other side of the trail to catch another glimpse of the valley. The beauty again astounded me, with strong winds pushing thick pillows of mist around almost effortlessly. This is why I love the mountains. Not even 15 minutes away from a hot coffee or a cold beer, and I get access to some of the most stunning wilderness scenery in the world. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate all the support I got on my last video, cave camping in the wild Bungalbori area of the Blue Mountains. If you could let me know down in the comments what type of content you'd like to see in the future, and subscribe, it really does mean a lot to me. Thanks a lot everyone. I'll catch you on the next Wallamai adventure.